A police officer pulled up behind a black woman's car and immediately called for a tow truck. "This vehicle matches a stolen car report," he said into his radio. The woman, Dr. Angela Brown, tried to show him her registration, but he refused to look at it. "Ma'am, step away from the vehicle. You're being detained for investigation of auto theft," Officer Davis said. What Officer Davis didn't know: Dr. Brown wasn't a car thief. She was an FBI agent working undercover to expose corrupt police officers who were running an illegal towing scheme. And everything he was doing was being recorded by a federal surveillance team 3 blocks away. In the next 20 minutes, Officer Davis went from writing a towing ticket to wearing handcuffs himself. This is the true story of how one corrupt cop's greed led to the takedown of an entire criminal network. Before we dive into this shocking story, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more true stories about justice and karma. Now let's see how this undercover operation unfolded. Who is Dr. Angela Brown? Angela Brown was 38 years old and had been an FBI agent for 12 years. She specialized in public corruption cases, investigating police officers and government officials who abused their power. For the past 6 months, the FBI had been receiving complaints from citizens in Riverside County. People reported that certain police officers were towing cars for false reasons, then demanding hundreds of dollars in storage fees to get them back. The tow truck company was splitting the profits with corrupt officers. Angela volunteered to go undercover. She would drive through known problem areas in an ordinary car, dressed like a regular citizen, and see if any officers tried to illegally tow her vehicle. She was the perfect choice because she was calm under pressure and knew exactly how to handle confrontational situations. Today, Angela was driving a 2019 Honda Accord registered in her real name. Everything about the car was legal. Registration current, insurance valid, no traffic violations. She was testing whether Officer Ryan Davis would find a fake reason to tow it anyway. The corrupt officer. Officer Ryan Davis was 42 years old and had been with the Riverside Police Department for 15 years. For the past 3 years, he'd been running a scheme with his brother-in-law, who owned Rapid Tow Company. The scheme was simple. Davis would pull over cars driven by people who looked like they couldn't fight back, often minorities, elderly people, or those who appeared to have limited English. He would claim their car was stolen, had expired registration, or matched a description in a crime report. Then he'd call his brother-in-law's tow company. Once the car was impounded, the owner would have to pay $500 minus $800 in towing and storage fees to get it back. Davis and his brother-in-law split the money. They'd stolen over $200,000 from innocent people over 3 years. Davis targeted people who were unlikely to file complaints, poor families who couldn't afford lawyers, immigrants afraid of authority, people who didn't know their rights. He'd gotten away with it for years because nobody had proof. Until today. The FBI operation 3 blocks away, FBI Special Agent Marcus Johnson sat in an unmarked van filled with surveillance equipment. He was Angela's supervisor and was monitoring everything through a hidden camera in her car and a microphone in her purse. With him were 2 other agents and a prosecutor from the district attorney's office. They had been investigating this case for 8 months. Today was the day they would finally catch Davis in the act. "Angela's approaching the target zone," Marcus said into his radio. "Davis should be starting his patrol shift right now." Angela drove her Honda down Maple Street at exactly 35 miles per hour, the speed limit. Her registration was visible in her windshield. Her brake lights worked. Her tires were good. There was absolutely no legal reason to pull her over. But she knew Davis didn't need a legal reason. He needed a victim. And she was about to give him exactly what he was looking for. Officer Davis saw Angela's car and immediately perked up. A black woman driving alone in a nice car. Perfect target. He pulled out behind her and turned on his lights. Angela pulled over calmly. She had her registration, insurance, and driver's license ready. The hidden camera in her dashboard was recording everything. Davis walked up to her window. "License and registration," he said without greeting. "Good afternoon, officer. May I ask why you pulled me over?" Angela asked politely. "Your vehicle matches the description of a stolen car reported this morning," Davis said. This was a lie. He hadn't even run her plates yet. Angela handed him her documents. "Officer, this is my car. Here's my registration showing I'm the legal owner." Davis barely glanced at it. "Ma'am, I need you to step out of the vehicle." "Why?" "I've shown you my registration." Because I'm conducting an investigation. Step out now or I'll charge you with obstruction. In the surveillance van, Marcus clenched his fists. He's already violating procedure. No legal basis for the stop. No valid reason to remove her from the vehicle. Angela stepped out of the car, keeping her hands visible. "Officer, I have done nothing wrong. My car is legally registered to me." Davis called his radio. "Dispatch, I need a tow truck to my location. I'm impounding a vehicle matching a theft report." Angela tried again. "Officer Davis," she read his name tag. "Please run my license plate. You'll see this car is registered to Dr. Angela Brown. That's me. I can prove ownership." "Ma'am, I've made my decision. This vehicle is being impounded pending investigation." "Investigation of what? What crime do you think I've committed?" Davis's jaw tightened. Most people got scared and quiet at this point. This woman was asking too many questions. "You're being detained for suspicion of auto theft. You have the right to remain silent." He hadn't actually arrested her, but he was using arrest language to intimidate her. Within 10 minutes, a tow truck arrived. It had Rapid Tow Company written on the side. The driver was Davis's brother-in-law, Mike Stevens. "Hey, Ryan," Mike said casually, too casually, like they knew each other well. "Got another one," Davis replied. "Suspected stolen vehicle." Angela spoke up. "This is illegal. You haven't verified anything. You haven't run my plates through the system. You're towing my legal vehicle without cause." Mike started hooking up her car. "Lady, if you got a problem, take it up with the police department. Storage fees are $75 per day, and you'll need to pay the towing fee of $350 to get it back." $350 for a tow. That's 3 times the legal rate? Davis stepped closer. "Ma'am, if you continue to interfere, I will arrest you for obstruction. Step back." Angela stepped back but kept her phone out, recording openly now. "I want your badge number and your supervisor's name." "You'll get all that at the impound lot," Davis said dismissively. As Mike finished hooking up Angela's car, Davis wrote her a citation. "You can pick up your vehicle at Rapid Tow on Industrial Boulevard. Bring $350 towing fee plus $75 per day storage plus proof of ownership." "I just showed you proof of ownership." "Not sufficient," Davis said. "You'll need the original title, proof of purchase, and a notarized affidavit." This was all made up. Legal car owners don't need notarized affidavits to prove they own their vehicles. Angela looked directly at Davis. "Officer, are you absolutely sure you want to tow this car?" Something in her tone made Davis pause, but his greed won. "The car's being towed. If you have a complaint, file it with Internal Affairs." "I'm giving you one last chance to do the right thing," Angela said. Davis smirked. "Are you threatening a police officer?" "No, I'm offering you an opportunity to stop breaking the law," Davis laughed. "Mike, get that car out of here." As the tow truck started to pull away, Angela raised her hand and spoke clearly. "This is FBI Special Agent Angela Brown. Officer Davis, you are under arrest for extortion, abuse of authority, and violation of civil rights." Davis's face went white. "What?" 4 FBI vehicles screeched to a stop around them. Agents jumped out with guns drawn. "Police, don't move!" Marcus shouted. Davis stood frozen, his hand moving toward his gun. "Don't even think about it," Marcus commanded. "Hands in the air, now." Davis slowly raised his hands. "This is a mistake. I'm a police officer." "You're a criminal," Angela said, pulling out her FBI credentials. "I'm Special Agent Angela Brown, FBI Public Corruption Unit. You just illegally detained a federal agent and attempted to extort money through a fraudulent towing scheme." Mike tried to run to his tow truck, but 2 agents tackled him to the ground. Marcus walked up to Davis. "Officer Ryan Davis, you're under arrest for extortion, conspiracy to commit fraud, deprivation of rights under color of law, and about 15 other federal charges we've been building for 8 months." An agent handcuffed Davis as Marcus read him his rights. "Everything you did today was recorded," Angela said. "The illegal stop, the false theft claim, the excessive towing fees, the coordination with your brother-in-law, all of it." Davis's legs seemed to give out. The agent holding him had to keep him standing. Marcus opened a folder. "We've been investigating you for 8 months, Davis. We have 47 victims who filed complaints. We have surveillance footage of you and Mike meeting at restaurants to divide the money. We have bank records showing suspicious deposits." He pulled out a sheet. "Just this month, you illegally towed 12 vehicles. You stole $8,400 from people who couldn't fight back. A single mother who needed her car to get to work. An elderly man on a fixed income. A family who had just moved to this country." Angela stepped forward. You targeted people you thought were powerless, people you thought wouldn't fight back, people who looked like me. Davis finally spoke, his voice shaking. I want a lawyer. You'll get one, Marcus said. But first, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to federal prison. Your brother-in-law is going to federal prison. Rapid Tow Company is being seized as proceeds of criminal activity, and every single person you stole from is getting their money back with interest. A news van pulled up. The FBI had tipped them off to be here at this exact time. Cameras started rolling. A reporter approached. Agent Brown, can you tell us what happened here? Angela faced the camera. Today, the FBI arrested a corrupt police officer who has been running an illegal towing scheme for 3 years. Officer Davis targeted vulnerable people, minorities, immigrants, the elderly, and stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from them. How did you catch him? I volunteered to go undercover. I drove through his patrol area in a completely legal vehicle. He pulled me over with no cause, lied about my car being stolen, and tried to extort money from me through illegal towing fees. He didn't know I'm an FBI agent. The reporter turned to Davis, who was being led to an FBI vehicle in handcuffs. Officer Davis, do you have any comment? Davis said nothing, his head down in shame. The story hit the news that evening. Corrupt cop caught in FBI sting was the headline. The footage of Davis trying to tow an FBI agent's car went viral. Within 24 hours, Davis was fired from the police department, Mike Stevens was arrested, and Rapid Tow was shut down. The FBI announced they had identified 89 victims over 3 years. A federal judge froze all of Davis's, and Mike's assets. The Riverside police chief held a press conference. We are ashamed and appalled. Officer Davis betrayed his oath and betrayed this community. We are cooperating fully with the FBI investigation. Davis was denied bail. The judge said, you abused your position of authority to prey on vulnerable people. You are a danger to the community. Mike Stevens, facing 20 years in prison, agreed to cooperate. He provided records of every illegal tow, every payoff, and every meeting with Davis. The evidence was overwhelming. The FBI set up a victim compensation fund. Every person Davis had illegally towed would get their money back, plus damages. Maria Rodriguez, a single mother who had lost her car for 3 days and paid $800 to get it back, cried when she received the call. I thought nobody cared. I thought because I'm an immigrant, nobody would help me. But they did. They believed me. An elderly man named Mr. Johnson said, that officer made me feel like a criminal. I'm 73 years old, never broke a law in my life. He towed my car and I couldn't get to my doctor's appointment. I'm so grateful someone finally stopped him. In total, 89 victims received $287,000 in compensation. But more importantly, they received validation. They weren't crazy. They hadn't done anything wrong. They had been victimized by a corrupt officer, and now justice was being served. 6 months later, Officer Ryan Davis stood in federal court. He had pleaded guilty to avoid trial, hoping for a lighter sentence. The judge was not sympathetic. Mr. Davis, you wore a badge. You took an oath to protect and serve. Instead, you used your authority to rob people. You targeted those you believed couldn't fight back. Your victims were afraid of you because you had power and you exploited that fear. I'm sorry, Davis said, his voice barely audible. Sorry isn't enough, the judge replied. You stole people's cars, their money, their dignity. You made people afraid of the very officers who should protect them. The judge sentenced Davis to 12 years in federal prison. Mike Stevens got 8 years. Both were ordered to pay full restitution. As Davis was led away in handcuffs, he looked back at Angela, who sat in the courtroom. She didn't smile. She just nodded. Justice had been served. Angela gave an interview 6 months after the arrest. The reporter asked what she wanted people to learn from this case. I want people to know that nobody is above the law, Angela said. Not police officers, not government officials. Nobody. If someone in authority is abusing their power, there are people fighting for you. What would you say to people who feel powerless against corrupt officials? Angela thought for a moment. Document everything. Get names, badge numbers, take photos if you can. File complaints even if you think nobody will listen. Because people are listening. The FBI, the Department of Justice, we investigate these cases. Your complaint might be the piece of evidence that breaks a case wide open. And what about Officer Davis? Davis thought he could get away with it because he targeted people who seemed powerless, but nobody is powerless. Every person has rights. Every person deserves justice, and every corrupt official will eventually meet someone who won't back down. The Riverside Police Department implemented major reforms after the scandal. Body cameras became mandatory, towing procedures were overhauled. An independent oversight board was created to investigate complaints. Most importantly, trust began to rebuild. People saw that when officers break the law, they face consequences. Real consequences. The final lesson this story teaches us several important truths. Never judge people by their appearance. Davis saw a black woman and assumed she was powerless. He never imagined she was an FBI agent who would take him down. Standing up for your rights matters. The 89 victims who filed complaints made this investigation possible. Without their courage, Davis might still be operating today. Justice may be slow, but it comes. It took 8 months to build the case, but when it came, it was thorough and complete. One person can make a difference. Angela could have let someone else go undercover, but she volunteered because she knew this case mattered. Because of her courage, 89 people got justice. If this story inspired you or restored your faith in justice, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel right now. We share true stories about courage, justice, and people who stand up against corruption. Drop a comment. Have you ever witnessed abuse of authority? How did you handle it? Hit that notification bell so you never miss when someone who abused their power finally faces consequences. Thanks for watching, and remember, nobody is above the law and nobody is powerless. Justice may take time, but it always finds its way. See you in the next story.